took care of all the right presentation. Very good. So as mentioned before, I'm Marcel Visser. I'm working at the company, which is a French-Dutch company. I'm working on credit cards, SIM cards, and since 3 years also on mobile communication. They bought communication, wireless communication part, which was formerly run by Siemens AG. That's what I'm not going to talk about today. It's also the reason why I'm here. My second, let's say, function, I'm also supporting Andy Wu. Did a nice presentation already. We'll have a slight overlap, but we'll use it as an introduction to that what you're going to see here today. And there I'm working within Article in the supplier sector platform, also supporting and active in the supervisory board. I will try to bridge my presentation. We will go definitely into the topic of aftermarket devices and maybe even also alternative emergency devices that can use the same value chain. If we talk about the Hero 1 pilot, which has been introduced by Andy, just for your help, you see here the countries, the names of the countries, the 9 countries where eCall, meanwhile, has been redeployed, and Andy already highlighted that Czech Republic, Romania, Croatia are done, and he also already told you that by November 21st and 22nd, we're going more or less to have the final Hero 1 assembly. Of course, they're also talking about Hero 2 in Romania, and you will get some further information by Maureen about what happened, about what happened in Romania, their experiences during the Hero 1 in Romania in keynote speech number 3. Interesting here is that the total amount of money that has been invested is 10 million euro shared, part by the European Commission and the other part by the members that have applied for pre-deployment of eCall. Then we have Hero 2 started in January this year. This is in Madrid, Spain. And here again, another 6 million euro is invested. This is a project that will be completed by the end of next year. And you see here the amount of 6 countries that were added. So in totally we have 9, plus 6 is already 15. And Andy mentioned another 7 countries. 4 of them are also member states that actively are pre-deploying, and these on their own cost, eCall in their countries. So in total 22 countries, and we could add Russia as well, because they will have a conformed solution, so that interoperability between vehicles from, let's say, Western Europe into Russia, but also the other way around. If Russian vehicles would enter or drive within Europe and getting into kind of an emergency situation, interoperability is given. So today, I want to highlight a little bit on this area, on this retrofit and also dealer option. Most important, and that's the basis of all, let's say, of everything what we are doing here, is this eCall value chain. 10 European eCall value chain. Totally different from that what we are used today, provided by third-party service providers, maybe from the insurance industry, maybe from the OEM industry. We have seen solutions in the US, we have seen solutions in Europe, we have seen solutions here in Japan. I will talk about this also next week during the ITS World Congress. But the most important here is, this is the value chain, and interesting for you here in Japan is that at the test bed here at YRP, we can definitely 100% more or less simulate the entire value chain. So later on the day, we hear something about the PSAPs, the network itself at YRP. These were the standards that are done for everything required in the vehicle, for everything in the mobile network, and everything at the PSAP site. And Andy already told, by October 2015, eCall will be mandatory for new type of tools, so for car manufacturers that would like to get approval for their vehicles, they would like to bring into the European market by October, starting October 2015. If they would apply for it, then eCall must be embedded in these vehicles. In Russia, and we will later today in of January 2015, M1 and M1 vehicles, like also addressed by Andy Wood before, it means passenger cars and let's say commercial vehicles with less than 8 passengers will be also mandatorily equipped here in Russia with this aerogonus functionality. The aerogonus functionality goes far beyond what we are doing with eCall right now. It goes rather in the direction what Andy has shown on one of his last, let's say, slides when he was doing an outlook in the future. In Russia they can do that based on that one platform, and in Europe we have, let's say, 28 countries meanwhile, 28 member states, and more than 28 opinions, and we have a lot of car manufacturers, a lot of mobile network operators, all of them have their opinions. It's really a big task to get something like a pan-European eCall deployed throughout Europe, and luckily we have standards, and using mobile communication, like it is standardized and available today. So now what makes the story so interesting is this one. And I tell you, this picture, we are not expecting a tsunami. We are expecting a nice wave. And I'm sure a lot of people would like to be like this guy on this board, waiting for such a perfect wave. What is necessary for a perfect wave? So, surfers, no, you need for that wind speed, wind over a period of time, and also wind on a big area, which can create such a wave. And we have observed this. So clear is, the bigger the wind speed, the nicer the wave, and we have wind speed. That's what we have seen before. A lot of money invested and standards available that definitely create some of this wind speed. But also, this is already available for a certain amount of time. Meanwhile, and we can really see this, in 2 months, 9 countries completed more or less their pre-deployment of eCall. And let me make one further comment to this. In case a country has not deployed eCall in Europe, this emergency call of that vehicle that is equipped with eCall, since this is a 112 voice call, which is a TS12 call, it's a signaling issue, this voice connection will be made to the PSA, with or without sending that minimum set of data. This is already critical, it will work. That's a very important message. Like it is also working with a normal mobile phone. So wind duration, yes, definitely. We have 9 countries more or less completed. We have another 6 countries that are running right now and are in the middle. And if you look, let's say, at the area itself, then 25 countries in Europe, member states, have signed a kind of memorandum of understanding, saying, if we deploy something related to vehicles and emergency call, we will follow the standard. And that's an interesting and also strong message towards the market. So if you combine all these things together, that one is coming. In other words, I tell you, it's already there. We have in Europe about 238, maybe 240 million vehicles on the roads. So if I tell my wife in 2015 October I'm buying a new car and it will have eCall, she will ask me, and what about my car, for example. So this is one of the questions we have to answer. And if we go back into 1995, we go this way, you see in front here a normal car radio, which is coming from the DIN2 shaft. At that time we did it that way, right? And at the back you see one of the first modules at that time made by Siemens AG. Big modules, very nice, big size modules. We're connected just to that radio, and by the keypad here you could make a normal mobile phone call. So if we could do something similar today, we would have an easy access and implementation of eCall. Now, the OEMs, of course, they don't like to share their part of the market. They would like to have a combined and a complete solution, including head unit interfaces, which are secure and safe, preventing for any kind of driver's distraction. So they will bring these solutions as per October 2015. But what about all those devices and vehicles that are today in the market but can we do that? Well, we will see later today a demonstration about a hands-free retrofit device. Later in the day in keynote session, just look. Fine. You will see that one. But if this value chain is there, this emergency value chain, and the connection can be made to a PSAP, and positioning data can be transferred to a PSAP. People that run PSAPs, that means policemen, firefighters, etc., they say, if you can provide me a little better quality of data for a few more time, then I would like to have it. So please provide this positioning data, even it's a vehicle or not a vehicle. Well, you see, this can bring a big help. Or if you even look here, this is a defibrillation device. You will also see that later today. If we could provide the information about where this person is treated, then the ambulance can go straight there where this person is lying. In addition, you can provide additional medical help by communication from such a device. Already in Vienna, the ITS Congress in Vienna in 2012, we demonstrated this with an external, let's say, eCall device. That probably is the smallest eCall device in the world. eCall and the deployment of eCall is observed in Europe and discussed in this European eCall implementation platform. This is the meeting room. And we have also been sitting there on the October 2nd of this year. We even elected a new co-chairman, which is Ana Blanca. She is from Spain. And the chairman, he is from the European Commission. This is Yanni Esteban. So during this event, the countries represent their status. There are also discussions, of course, about problems. And problems normally are solved in task forces. So here you see an overview about all these different kinds of task forces that were running or are still active. Just to pick out a few that you know what this is about. For example, here you see this silent task force. So definitely, PSAPs say, I only want emergency call. I don't want rubbish. Please don't overload my PSAP. We have, let's say, very qualified people that have to rescue people and don't waste their time and don't block them, right? So what are we going to do with these so-called false emergency calls? We call them silent calls. So this task force has looked at this to prevent for that. Well, here, PTI. PTI means periodical type improvement inspection. If the car goes once or twice a year for a kind of a re-inspection, then they check this vehicle, they check if it's compliant to the rules, so you can drive it on the road. Maybe here we have to check as well, like we are checking, let's say, airbags and all these key functional issues in the car, as well, eCall. How we're going to do that? It's discussed, for example, there. And you see here CAM, it's a campaign. It's driven by the FIA. So tomorrow, on Sunday here, it's Formula 1 racing. And in events like these, I don't say it's happening this time, but in events like these, FIA is also promoting the rollout and deployment of eCall, but also the member states that were applying for being a Hero 1 or a Hero 2 member. They signed in their documents they will take care about this kind of dissemination and creating awareness in the countries. This one, the red one, is a very positive color in this part of the region. For me it's as well a positive color. Because with this retrofit task force, we can serve the questions and the requirements towards, let's say, retrofit solutions, aftermarket solutions, dealer solutions, and maybe other topics that in the future might be connected to a PSAP. So definitely there is a reason for having such a task force. The observation has been that there are upcoming, let's say, devices. The industry is providing devices towards the market, and we have really to prevent for the case that we get rubbish connected over mobile networks towards PSAPs. This is a no-go. So how to address that one? It's also underlined here. Everything is suitable to doing emergency calls. Here you see Lily Cruz again. You see this very small emergency call device, which this person from the European Commission also has. And here you see, just as an idea, this AED, this automated external defibrillation device. So, what is this all about? If we talk about IVS devices or emergency call devices coming from the, let's say, automotive area, we can cluster this story, the topic, which we did in this task force, in 4 groups. One is that what we were talking about originally in the Europilot. That's the embedded device in the vehicle. But there will also be, let's say, solutions, most probably, provided by the OEMs via their dealer chains. So let's say new options. I'm driving a certain car, and maybe by 2015 or earlier or later, I decide for myself I would like to have this feature in my car as well. So I go to my, let's say, the supplier of my car, this dealer, and ask him, hey, do you have also a solution for my car? Yes, we'll have one, and then they will integrate it into my car. Then we have a second category of dealer option devices. I will come soon to the fact what the difference is between those two. Hands-free retrofit devices, and then these alternating emergency devices. So clear is, this year, this is not a vehicle. That's quite clear, and therefore we already split this off out of the retrofit devices in this task force, but we are going to address it, and you will see demo it. Regarding the classification, an OEM embedded device is fixed, mounted in the car. And most probably there will be communication to and from the car. It's all under the control of the OEM. I don't worry, this will work and this will happen in a proper way. Then we have the dealer option solution. Here again, I go to the dealer, I buy this box. The OEM dealer has everything under control. He will establish this device, mount it in my car, and I also see no problem that there will be proper communication from and to the vehicle because it's running under the roof of the OEM car manufacturer. Then there will also be dealer options and retrofit devices, hands-free retrofit devices, that maybe are not coming under the roof of the OEM. So these devices, yes, must be somehow fixed to the car, but there will be no communication from the car. So definitely the OEMs will not like that people are going to access to their car. Definitely not for safety reasons, and this is definitely what we have to take care of, that this is not going to happen. So these questions we are addressing there, and then we have the alternative emergency devices. This is not a car, but still it could send, let's say, emergency message. So it's not mounted to a car, not at all. It is not communicating to the car, not at all. But I can tell you that these defibrillation devices for cars that are, let's say, going up 7,000 euros, mainly are lying in the glove box of those cars. So the supplier of these defibrillation devices, they tell me that one of their shares of business is exactly in this area. So it's not far away from the cars, but once again, not at all related to the vehicles. So there are 4 areas which we identified that we have to dig in deeper, which we have to solve. What about the triggering? If it's a manual recall, automatic triggering recall. What about the vehicle identification number, how to get it in that device? And then what are we going to do with the certification issues, etc. So let's start from the bottom. It's quite easy to, let's say, to address that the solution here will be, let's say, more or less valid for all 4 clusters. That means, if it's terminal equipment, we have to go for terminal equipment. This is wrong. If we have a mobile phone, we would like to bring the mobile phone in the market, we have to fulfill the requirements, otherwise you cannot connect it to a mobile network. But the PSAPs will request kind of an eCall conformance assessment. How this is going to happen, there's still discussions ongoing, but this has to happen. It cannot be that just anybody can come and say, okay, this is a device and I'm going to make an emergency call. This is not going to happen. For sure not going to happen. So this is addressed. Then about the manual trigger, it is pretty good defined how you should go. And that definition, yes, can be used in all those 4, let's say, cluster scenarios. About the automatic triggering, I see no problem. What is defined so far for the vehicle can be used in the OEM embedded system and also in the dealer option system. Here we are going to have a problem. Not a problem, a challenge. Because if I would have an aftermarket device, which is not connected to the car, where the car normally gives the trigger for setting up the emergency call, where do I get this trigger from? So we are searching here some advice from the insurance industry. They are already doing this for many years. They have their third-party services running. So if a car crashes, they know this is a serious one. Send that data to their server, and then they take contact with their members to double-check what's ongoing, are they okay, etc. So they have these triggers already available, and we're going probably to make use of that one. Also for emergency devices, this could be very interesting, right? So you have these devices put somewhere on the wall. If you drag them from the wall, there could be kind of triggering scenario, whatever. We will have to address that. We are doing this. And another interesting point is about this vehicle identification number program. So everything under the control of the OEM, I won't worry, they will do that. They already did this for years. But outside of this business area, nobody should do this. We have to be very careful about who is going to program such a VIN into a device, whether it's here or here. Imagine there are 50,000 mobile phones having the same IMEI number. No go. One IMEI number for one mobile phone. The mobile phone comes back, the IMEI number is discarded, is gone forever. This asset is gone. And something similar is like the vehicle identification number. You have it once. There's no vehicle identification number for two cars. Now when this VIN is somehow in this car, or programmed in this box, consumers normally think, you know, I take this device and I go to another car. Because I bought a new car, I would like to take it with me. It's all fine, but who is going to change this device from one car to the other? Who is going to change this vehicle identification number from one car to the other? Definitely not the consumer. We have to prevent from that. We don't want to end up that somebody with a mini car, or whatever, Toyota Yaris, takes his device and jumps into the truck because he would like to travel secure, and then crashes. Imagine, he's sitting with his device in a heavy goods vehicle or even in a dangerous goods vehicle. Or the other way around. Somebody that has a device from a dangerous goods vehicle jumps into a mini car and a crash happens and it's alerting emergency calls for help. It would be a disaster to identify this heavy goods vehicle like a mini or the other way around. So rescue people will be on the way and this will not help us, right? So we have to overcome that. One of the questions is who, if, who, when, and how. These numbers get in there. In this area, if we know how this can be done, we have also a solution for the medical area, whereas this will never be a vehicle identification number, because it's not related to a vehicle. So we have to find another way. I know there are already discussions ongoing regarding unique identification of medical devices. This maybe opens a new door for standardization, whatever. But in the meantime, we could use this minimum set of data if we use the current standards. We will address the dealer options in dealer speech 8. We will address today this retrofit in dealer speech 9 and the automated emergency devices triggering an emergency call using the minimum set of data in speech number 10. Very shortly, a bridge to also one of the presentations we see later. Today, we have terminal equipment, we have IVS systems in vehicles embedded. And what is the difference to tomorrow? So today, if an OEM is offering services to his consumer, his user, then he as well has to go for type approval. And in Germany, for example, you have to go to the Kraftfahrtbundesamt, and then you can get the vehicle type approval of your car. But you also have to do for the terminal equipment also kind of testing, like we have seen. Now in the future, what is going to change? There will be, let's say, an additional requirement here. You must have eCall embedded. And you must have some extension on the air interface. And then we have this part of the eCall assessment. And maybe we're going to address some of these things. This speech number 7, definitely Silicon and Tufan are the right guys to address this topic. It's also interesting whatever product it is, wherever it's coming from, we are all going to face the same questions. This is not new. That's also an important message. So more or less, you don't have to invent new wheels. Wheels are already there, maybe here or there have to be a little adapted, so we can run it. Very important interface for us right now, as well, is our interface to another task force. It's called the Standardization and Certification Task Force. And as we could see before, different standards available, you see them named again here. In fact, what we have to do, if we would like to connect the device to the PISA, we have to take care that the interoperability is given, and of course, that the single standards are fulfilled. And then theoretically, you can connect retrofit devices, you can connect also automated emergency devices. That's my presentation until here. So we have seen some outlook to some other presentations that will follow. Later in the day, I will present you the defibrillation device, and we will also see a device which is a hands-free retrofit device, and you will be amazed about the size, but also, let's say, about the availability of such devices. And most probably, we will see these devices much earlier in the market than October 2015.
Marcel Visser様、ありがとうございました。